In a future alternate universe, people overconsume and don't get rid of their trash properly, so the Earth has become an unlivable wasteland. Because of how harsh it is, all plant species have died out, and all water sources have dried up. Earth is full of tons of trash that doesn't break down, making it unfit for human to live on. Everyone leaves the dying planet because of these terrible conditions. They all live on a huge mothership called the Axiom, which is strong and reliable. While in space, the huge ship has both basic and fancy amenities, such as beaches, spas, and a huge amount of food. As a fair departure, the humans leave a huge army of robots to clean up the mess. When they're not around, these robots get busy with their clearing job and don't stop for years. Hundreds of years later, most of the machines stop working, leaving only one robot named Wally. Wally keeps working on his project and smartly bundles the trash so it can be thrown away easily. After a long day at work, it finds a friendly cockroach one evening and takes it to his home. There are a lot of robot parts and various things in the shelter, which the robot thinks interesting. He plays a tape on his media player and watches a video on TV when he gets home. Wally sees a human couple holding hands and looks at them with envy because he wants a partner too. After a few seconds, Wally is distracted when he sees a sandstorm coming from far away. He quickly shuts the door to his shelter and packs up to go to sleep for the night. The next day, the robot continues his daily task of collecting trash, but he quickly gets sidetracked when he sees a plant starting to grow. Wally feels stunned to see the seedling because it's the first plant the planet has seen in hundreds of years. He picks up the plant carefully and goes back to his shelter right away. There, he sees a red light moving and is amazed by the thing that it is chasing. He ends up in the desert as an unknown spaceship touches down. The plane drops off a pod that looks strange. Suddenly, he sees Eve, another robot, come out of the pod while he is curiously watching it. Wally falls in love with Eve right away, even though she is a strict robot with a new classy look. The plane then quickly takes off again as it heads back to where it came from. The new robot is naughty and will shoot lasers at anything that gets in its way. But Wally stays swallowed, and Tails watches her from afar and quickly figures out that she's looking for something. Eve sees and looks at a lot of things, but she can't find what she needs. Wally gets up the nerve to talk to Eve and asks her about her search if she's willing to discuss. She refuses to give him any information about her mission, which makes him sad, but he respects her decisions, and they quickly change the subject as they continue talking. A sandstorm suddenly appears a few minutes later and hits the robots. Eve is lost right away, but Wally kindly leads her to his shelter. The robot is amazed by every item Wally hands her, including a bubble wrapper, light bulb, and a Rubik's Cube. They dance and watch a movie on his media player together. After that, he shows her his new seedling. Eve promptly uses her sensor to scan the plant, and her radar turns green right away, which means she has been looking for a plant the whole time. When she's done getting the seedling, she sends a signal into space and then turns herself off. Wally tries to bring her back to life, but all of his efforts fail, which makes the Earth robot very sad. He leaves Eve at the shelter the next day and goes to work. After hours, the ground shakes, and Wally sees the plane that landed at his house earlier. He runs to it and watches as the spaceship grabs Eve while she is sleeping and puts her in a pod with other bots that look like her. Wally says goodbye to his pet cockroach and holds on to the plane before it takes off. The ship takes off into the air and then breaks through into space. Wally gets thrown off by the strange environment as he drifts away from the ship. Luckily, the robot gets his grip back and stays tight as the ship speeds past the moon and stars. It finally gets to the Axiom and enters it. This is the mothership where humans have lived for hundreds of years. Eve and the other bots are dropped off at a waiting station while they go through a process of being checked out. Another machine checks the bots and finds that Eve has a plant in her cabinet. When the alarm goes off, a group of cyborgs rush to take her out of the room. Wally goes after them and ends up in a hallway full of machines. He walks past them and soon sees a group of people. Wally is shocked at first by how fat they are and quickly learns about their new way of life. As it turns out, humans no longer work or do basic things by themselves because robots do everything for them. These people only drink sugary drinks and don't eat any healthy foods or vegetables. Because they don't move around much and eat poorly, along with the lack of gravity in space, their bodies have completely changed. People today are mostly overweight and have very weak bones. When Wally is following Eve, he meets two people along the way and becomes friends with them. He finally sees Eve being led into the ship's control room and quickly follows her. There, the Axiom's captain, McCrae, does a daily check on the plane with the help of Otto, the ship's robotic wheel. Once everything is back to normal, McCrae gives a speech from his office to the whole ship through a series of projected screens. The captain tells everyone that it has been exactly 700 years since people left Earth. He tells the passengers that they have made it this far, even though many generations have come and gone since then. Before McCrae can finish his speech, Otto tells him that Eve is there and that she has come back with a seedling. The captain doesn't understand what's being said because robots have never come back from Earth with plants. He checks the manual book, which plays an old video with this exact scenario and then shows up on the screen to explain that getting a plant from Earth means that the planet has become habitable for life. Because of this, he tells the captain to put the seedling into a hollow detector, which will immediately guide the ship back to its home port. She is shocked to see her Earth friend on the Axiom and quickly hides him in a corner. At the same time, McCrae gives the ship's AI permission to get the seedling from Eve. They are shocked when the robot quickly opens her cabinet and finds it empty. Because of this, McCrae thinks Eve's program is broken and sends her to the diagnostic center. Wally walks up to the captain and shakes his hand. McCrae looks at his hand and sees a big pile of dirt in it. When he sees this, he sends Wally and Eve to the diagnostic center. McCrae looks at the dirt after the bots leave and finds that it comes from Earth. It interests him, so he falls down a rabbit hole of research into many aspects of the planet. The captain is finally mesmerized by what he has found and makes a promise to go home. The next scene shows Eve and the Earth robot finally getting to the center. Eve is taken to a repair ward, and Wally is locked up in a cell for broken bots. They take good care of her, but Wally thinks they are torturing her and runs in to save her. During this, he fires an energy blast that breaks the controls and lets all the broken devices go. Because of this, they are marked as bad bots, and the other machines quickly start to chase them. Eve is mad at Wally for being a bother, but she still protects him from those robots that are after him. She finally leads him to an exit room where he is put in an escape pod that will take him back to Earth. And just as the pod is about to take off, they hear a robot coming and quickly hide to avoid being caught. Otto's henchman, Go 4, is seen stashing the missing plant in the pod and setting the aircraft to self-destruct. Wally runs into the pod as soon as he leaves to get the plant for Eve, but he gets stuck and is sent into space. Soon, the self-destruct countdown starts, and Wally starts to freak out as he frantically pushes the ship's buttons but can't stop it. Eve, on the other hand, quickly gets into an emergency escape pod and runs after him. After a short time, she sees the pod blow up and stops in shock, thinking that Wally and the plant are gone. Eve is devastated and runs towards the explosion to find his body. She is shocked to see Wally still alive and well. Wally opens his cabinet and shows her the recovered seedling. He then gives it to her. Eve is happy to see the plant and quickly gets it while giving Wally a hug to show her appreciation. The couple butts heads and sets off a spark that knocks out the Earth robot and makes him swoon. Soon, Wally calms down, and the two of them go back into the Axiom to hide from two police bots who are looking for them. Eve hides the Earth robot with some paper towels and leaves him behind as she runs into McCrae's room. When she gives him the recovered seedling, the captain is shocked to see her and starts to cheer. McCrae tells Otto to put the plant in the hollow detector at first, but then he changes his mind and does it himself. As he gets closer, Otto stops him and tries to take the plant. McCrae is confused, so he asks the robot what it's doing. Otto responds by saying that he has been told to stop people from coming back to Earth and playing an old video to explain. It turns out that 700 years ago, the former leader of the Axiom said that the Earth would no longer be able to support life. So, they gave up on the planet's cleanup plan and stopped sending machines to get rid of its piling trash. The former leader also set up an override command in Otto's program that tells the cyborg to stop anyone from trying to go back to Earth. When the video ends, McCrae tells Otto that the directive is no longer valid because the seedling shows that life can now continue on Earth. But Otto doesn't pay attention to him and has his goon Go 4 steal the plant from the captain. The henchman quickly throws the plant down a trash chute as Eve and the captain gasp in shock. Luckily, their fear doesn't last long because Wally comes out of the chute with the recovered seedling. He puts the plant in his cabinet, but Otto attacks Wally right away and electrocutes him, sending him flying down the trash chute. When Eve tries to help, Otto shuts her down and throws her down the chute as well. They land in a garbage dump and are squished into an air chamber with the trash. The doors to the chamber open all of a sudden, and they are almost sucked into space. A cleaning robot that had been following Wally's dirt trail gets there just in time to save them. Eve meets Wally again, but she quickly learns that he is badly broken and needs a new circuit board. She looks for a new one at the trash dump but can't find any. Wally finally gets her attention and tells her that he has many spare parts in his Earth shelter. After hearing this, Eve is determined to use the seedling to guide the Axiom back to Earth and save Wally. She takes him out of the trash dump, and they both return to the common area. The police bots chase them and trap them right away, but they fight back. They are lucky that the broken robots Wally freed from the diagnostic center help them. They work together to defeat the police bot that are trying to fight back. Otto locks McCrae in his room at the other end of the ship. The captain lies there helpless for a while but quickly comes up with a way to get away. He makes Otto think he has the plant by using a screen. Otto checks out his room, but McCrae quickly jumps on him and gets away from his cell. They fight for a while, but the robot finally gets the upper hand. When Otto is free, he turns off the holo detector and moves the ship, making all the people inside slide across the floor. When Wally sees that the holo detector is closing, he uses himself as a block to keep it from closing all the way. He is crushed by the machine's weight, and many of his parts are broken. Then McCrae gets up and attacks Otto while turning off the bad cyborg by hand for good. Eve sees her chance and quickly puts the plant in the holo detector, which brings the ship back to Earth. When they get to the planet, Wally's pet roach greets them and Eve quickly takes Wally to his shelter. She quickly looks through his shelves for the parts she needs and quickly fixes him. Wally wakes up, but he has lost his personality and memories. He looks at Eve with an empty expression. She does everything she can to bring back his memories, but it doesn't work. Feeling helpless, she holds his hand and bump heads with him, triggering his spark. This move juggles his memories, and Wally gets back to being himself as they gently bump heads again. In the last scene, the humans finally get off the ship and move the seedling to the new spot. After several months, the plant grows more copies of itself, and new plants start to grow as the Earth slowly returns to its fertile, life-supporting state. Thank you for coming, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.